Greetings War Thunderers, this is Longshot with you again. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to fly the A36 Apache as a fighter in arcade. The A36 was actually, as you can see, a Mustang. It's actually the same model of plane as the P-51 we have in the game with 4 Hispano cannon. This one was designated as a dive bomber, therefore it has dive brakes, which I'll demonstrate shortly. It has, as you can see, 650 cal guns, 2 of which are mounted in the nose, which is interesting, as those 2 are obviously free from the effects of convergence. Other than that, it is a Tier 2 plane with a current battle rating of 2.7. So let's see how it goes in a test flight. Right, firstly looking at its roll rate. Pretty good. Okay, throw it into a horizontal turn, using up pitch with the elevators only. I'm going to look at the size of the turning circle and how much speed it loses, and whether it can catch its smoke trail, all of which will tell me if it's a decent turn fighter or not. And no, it's not close to catching its smoke trail, although its turning circle's a little bit closer than some of the later Mustangs. Its speeds drop to around 300 kilometers an hour and stabilizes there, which is fairly good. A lot of fighters around this battle rating will drop to 280 or so, but still, yeah, it's not a turner. It's going to get you enough turning speed to get away with a quick turn or two, but not enough to survive or thrive in a turn fight. Let's see how it goes with a climbing spiral. This is, of course, up elevator, left rudder, tapping the right roll key to keep the cockpit facing upwards, and hitting WEP. And it's climbing in quite a broad circle. The rudder seems about the same as the elevator. It's not crossing its smoke trail, so it's not a sharper turn at all. It is able actually to sustain this climb far longer and far better than I thought it would be able to. Yeah, I've gained quite a lot of altitude here, almost 1,000 meters. But once the WEP runs out, it can no longer climb. It's now leveling off in that spiral. And it's just going to quickly put it down, and I want to demonstrate something with the rudder and elevator. And with a bit of speed up, I'm lifting up, and I'm going to try and hammerhead the plane. And sometimes it'll hammerhead, and sometimes it'll do what it's doing here. It's stalled. It's just facing upwards, not responding to any of the tail controls until it flips over, and then it finally gets underway. So this isn't a plane I suggest trying to do fancy maneuvers such as hammerheads in, or any kind of high-pitched rudder turns. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble. Alright, let's have a look at the high-speed maneuvering ability of the plane. And as we go into the dive, I'm passing 600 kilometers an hour, and the roll speed is still pretty fast. Slows down just a touch as we get well up to the 700s, but still very fast indeed. Let's see how it tracks the mouse. Very snappy, very minimal uplift, and it's happy to pitch down as well. Not quite as well as it pitches upwards, but its high-speed handling is superb. Now I'm going to throw it straight up into a vertical climb, and this is not something you should ever do with this plane in a battle, and I'm demonstrating why. I started that climb at about 500 meters altitude, going at around 700 kilometers an hour, and by the time I reach maybe 2 kilometers gained, you can see it's completely out of speed. Now a lot of planes can make 2 kilometers in a zoom climb, so with this plane you're likely to get caught if you try and climb that steeply. If there's any chance of someone chasing after you, you're much better off keeping your speed high and climbing at a nice and gentle angle, in which case you'll outrun planes and get away from them, rather than trying to outclimb them. Okay, one more thing, and that's the dive brakes. Now, these are obviously designed for dive bombing, and in arcade there's no real need for them because you're not going to rip your wings off, which is what they're designed to avoid. When I deploy them and I cut the throttle, speed does drop quite alarmingly. The plane rolls but doesn't move much off the center line when I did a snap roll there. I've deployed combat flaps as well. As you can see, the speeds drop, but it hasn't really dropped as quickly as I thought it might have. And now I'm turning with full elevator and nothing at all is happening. Those dive brakes absolutely kill your maneuverability and would just make you an absolute sitting duck. So if you're using this as a fighter or using it at all in arcade, don't use dive brakes. And one last thing before I take it to a battle. If, like me, you don't like olive drab paint scheme, there's some really nice custom paint jobs you can download, and I'll provide a link for this one in the description text below. Okay, so let's take it to a battle. Actually, I flew 2 battles of this last night, at 3:30 AM. Horrible hour to be up playing War Thunder. The first one was an absolute disaster, so I decided to fly it again and show you this one, which is far more representative of what the plane can do. Okay, I've got 400 meters guns targeting distance, using the Omnipurpose belt, which I found to be pretty good at the moment. Probably didn't need 30 minutes of fuel, but hey, you never know. This game, this map, Korsun, generally tends to be shorter battles, so I probably could have got away with taking 20. Okay, climbing. For climbing this plane, you do not want to get slower than around 280 kilometers an hour, and it is not a good climber, same as the Canon P51 is not a great climber. It's more important to keep your speed high. If someone wants to intercept you, that gives you speed and maneuverability, and the ability to get away, basically. Because in this plane, you want to keep the speed high at all times if you're anywhere near the combat zone. So it is purely a boom and zoomer. You want to use that high speed maneuverability as much as possible because it's a real strength of the plane. Its energy retention is really good as long as you don't perform any or too many hard maneuvers. In fact, in general, you want to use mouse to redirect the plane and move it very gently, because that will keep you from losing as much speed as possible. Okay, so having just crisscrossed across the battle here, I'm now looking for someone to dive at. There's a bunch of fighters down there. I don't think there's any threatening fighters higher up. Okay, so I've got a Wellington out to my left. Just a question of whether I can pick up one of these fighters or not. But none of them seem to be lining up, so I'm going to lift up and attack the Wellington. But he's performing a hard maneuver right in front of me, and I'm travelling at nearly, well, I was travelling at nearly 600 kilometers an hour, so I couldn't really get a decent shot at him. So no kill there. And here I notice a P-39 for the first time. Don't know where he came from. Might have been in the cloud or something when I started my attack. And he's a bit too close for comfort, so I'm just into a shallow dive and gaining speed, ready to dive out hard if he tries to boom and zoom me. But he doesn't seem to be paying a great deal of attention to me. I'm not really sure what he's doing. So I'm going to try a low yo-yo attack. Just lift up straight up from underneath and let him have a taste of some 50 cals. Yep, he's not paying any attention, and that will be his undoing. Alright, first kill on the board. There's no higher enemy planes up here, just a bit of a rudder turn. You really want to be careful using both up elevator and rudder at the same time. On this plane it really does kill your speed very quickly. Basic rule is don't perform hard maneuvers if you're anywhere near an enemy in this plane. And in a way that it's a good thing, because this plane will enforce on you the kind of discipline needed to thrive in later dedicated boom and zoomers, not only for America but other nations like Germany and even Russia with the I-185s. So yeah, it's a great plane to get into good habits of just restricting yourself to only doing things the plane's good at and not doing anything which it can't do well. I'm just going to wait for that P-51 to dive, and then I'm going to look to boom and zoom through the battlefield. Okay, here we go. Accelerates really quickly into a dive. Okay, there's a J2M capturing the runway down there. There's a KR-61 taking shots at him, but a bunch of planes around here. I'll just pick up whoever I feel is the easiest target. Probably the 8036, because it looks like he's going to turn right in front of me. And there's that nice high-speed handling. It tracked the mouse really well. I was slightly off target, wasn't really lined up to catch him in his turn, but it responded to the mouse with a bit of down elevator and got the guns on target, which is what you want. And down he goes. That F6F was following me for a bit, couldn't keep up, and now he's turned off, so I'm free to make another attacking run here. See if I can pick up one of these guys. I-301, and a hit. Okay, now extend away again. No turn fighting, no manoeuvring. There's a P-39 trying to chase me, and he gets a bit of a hit there. Well, I should have maybe gone a little bit evasive as I extended away. But nonetheless, I'm out of danger. And there I do what I said not to do. That was a rudder and elevator turn. I want to turn the plane as quickly as I could for another run, but that's dropped my speed a bit. But I judged that I was far enough away and I'd regain enough speed by the time I got back to the battlefield. Okay, who am I going to pick up this time? Too many targets. Probably the Beaufighter, though I could have gone for the J2M as well. Set him alight. And of course, with 50 cal planes, you will set a lot of planes alight. They're basically fire throwers at the moment, and you'll get a lot of kills from it. That Beaufighter is going to burn out very nicely. And that's a much better way of turning your plane around if you've got enough speed under your belt. Just a simple loop without any rudder. And here it really demonstrates the down elevator authority on this plane. It's probably because the wings don't actually have a great deal of lift. They're very thin wings on the P-51s, short as well relative to the plane, which is why it's designed as a boom and zoomer rather than a turn fighter as such. So there's not a lot of lift from the wings, even at high speed, for the plane to fight. So it can nose down when needed. Alright, now there's a high P-51. I've got to be very careful. I do not want him boom and zooming me. But the Spitfire's taking him on. Just watch and see what happens. Bit of manoeuvre in case he wants to take a run at me even though he's on fire. Okay, I don't think I need to worry about him. Okay, there's a few planes picking on him, so I can ignore what's going on up there and go into another attack run. Looks like the airfield's being absolutely swarmed by the enemy team in this game, so highly unlikely we're going to capture the airfield back. It's just a question of how many kills I can get before this battle ends. So P-38, nice and flammable. And again, there's that really nice high-speed handling. It hinted at falling behind with my guns there, but it was able to pick up and maintain the lead on the target and get those extra bullets in, which got the job done. And the same thing there. And that demonstrated the authority of the rudder as I tracked a target. And that's what I really like about this plane as an interceptor. It's very easy to, even if you don't get an attack lined up perfectly, you can make those, oops, get out of cockpit mode, you can make those last minute adjustments with the mouse and get that firing solution. Alright, extended away far enough. What I don't like on this plane is when you get down to the low 200s, it takes a while to accelerate, even with WEP. The Allison engine in these planes was not strong. I mean, it is an early, very early Mustang, so acceleration just isn't its thing. Like the later Mustangs, it's quite a heavy plane, and if you're relying on engine power alone, you've got problems. That's why when you get a lot of speed up, you want to make those gentle maneuvers so you don't lose it, and the heaviness of the plane can just create momentum and keep that speed high in a series of diving and shallow climbs. Alright, so what have we got here? Tiffy looks like he's coming at me, so I will take the head on from long range and then look to dive away. Aiming just above him so the bullet drop hits, but I'm not getting many hits, and that's because he's not quite climbing right at me. Sneaky little trick there, so okay, I'm out of that head on. Let's see if I can pick up one of these guys. Try the F4F. Probably not the easiest target because it's a very tough plane. Okay, so let's extend away from there using the speed from the dive. P40 looks like a target I can intercept. And again, just look how nicely that tracked the target. And that's 7 kills, and the battle is just about over. And I'm going to try for one last one if I can before it ends, but no, it's too late. If that battle had gone on for longer, I dare say I could have repeated that same kind of tactic over and over again and got quite a few kills. By the way, I tiered my plane up a bit for that battle. If you want, you can bring it right down to 2.3 in a lineup and wreak absolute havoc against Tier 1 planes. I don't feel particularly good doing that, so I generally tend not to. But as a low tier clubber, it's absolutely brilliant. But mind you, the Americans have quite a few planes that fit into that category right now. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. If you'd like to leave comments, I'd be very happy to read them. As always, if you'd like to support the channel, I've got a Patreon link in the description text below. And I hope the video is helpful. Until my next one, I'll be seeing you in the skies.